So, welcome back to this news episode of a Full Throttle. Today, we're gonna have a special edition of Full Throttle, talking about well, the news of the day, actually, of the news of yesterday. More to be more specific, Sebastian Vettel is gonna leave Ferrari at the end of this season, of the 2020 season, if any 2020 season is gonna happen. But anyway, the contract between Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari will not be resigned. So no renewal at all. News came out yesterday with a press release from both Ferrari and Vettel explaining that there's no more, they are not more on the same page. Basically, that's what they're saying into the press release. Huge news. Honestly, not really expected. I was thinking, I always thought that Ferrari and Sebastian would have agreed to contract renewal for at least a couple of other seasons, so 2021, 2022, mainly because there are no big, big brand names, big deals for Ferrari outside the possibility of renewing Sebastian Vettel. So I think honestly, this is something really strange. I mean, it's like I don't know, 36 hours that we have this news, but still really sound too strange to me. I was really thinking about Sebastian Vettel having the possibility to again be ready to fight again for Ferrari for the next couple of championship. Again, it sounds quite strange to me because, I mean, Sebastian did quite well in these 5-6 years. If we are going to have the 2020 season, it's going to be 6 years for Vettel and Ferrari. He did good. He did a good job. He were very close. He was very close to winning the championship in 2017. Same in 2018. Two different reasons probably for not winning the championship in these two seasons. But honestly, again, I can't find the real reason for Ferrari for leaving. Let Sebastian leave the team. I understand that the team, of course, is betting everything that they have to Charles Leclerc as their driver for the future. But honestly, I think that, I mean, Charles just, he already demonstrated his abilities and the fact that he can win races and maybe he can win championship with the right car. But I can't see, I mean, the value of putting everything that they have in his shoulder, putting a lot of pressure on him, make him the first driver, and just trying to find, like a sparring partner or a partner in crime for him. So like a second string driver, basically. I understand that Sebastian is a 4-time world champion and he couldn't accept to be, like the second string driver for Charles. But I think that if Ferrari really, the team was in some way able to manage the two drivers in the 2019, I think that they could definitely try to keep the two drivers together for the next couple of seasons, because again, you can really put your all your effort, all your commitment on one driver if you have if you have data that driver is, like Michael Schumacher. And again, I think Charles Leclerc can be like Michael Schumacher. He has the whole, you know, uh, potential, the whole capabilities to become the new Michael Schumacher. Um, but honestly, what I can say is that it's too early in his career to say that. I really think that Shaw needs someone who can help me help him not also winning races but also to learn. I think that he's strong. He's one of the strongest driver that we have in in the championship. Uh, Probably the driver with the brightest future uh, ahead of him. Uh, this is my personal opinion, but I think he has a brighter future than Max Verstappen, for example, because of his mentality. But again, I think it's very early. He has to learn a lot, and also he has to learn how to develop a car, which is the main problem for Ferrari right now. Ferrari doesn't have a competitive car. Let me say, not competitive enough. They're not at the same level of Mercedes. If you have a look at the preseason test that we had in Barcelona, they're not at the same level, or probably of Red Bull, at least for performance. Of course, Mercedes and Red Bull, they had some troubles, some issues during the test related to, powertrain, engines, and so on. But that's the same for Ferrari. So honestly, I think that the Ferrari has to focus his commitment in trying to developing the car. Um, and actually, what they need from a driver perspective is a set of drivers that enables them to uh, get great data from the field in order to do great development on the car itself based on that data. So I think it's a really strange move. Honestly, the idea that it start you know moving in my mind, it's something that's really hitting my brain. Is I think it's Sebastian is leaving Ferrari and not the other way around. I think it's more Sebastian that he's leaving Ferrari because he needs something different. He wanted to be the first driver, and I think that he wanted to be, let me say, um, awarded by the status of by a status of a first driver, and probably be at the same level of Shaw was something that he wasn't able to accept. And I understand perfectly that. Um, and again, I think it's too early for Ferrari and for Charles Leclerc as well to do this move of promoting Shaw as a first driver. I think Shaw, he started last year by being basically a second string driver with Sebastian as a captain, and then he deserved the status of a you know of equality between the twos because of his result in the track. So I think that basically they could just spend a couple of other years or 3 years by um, driving at the same level. So really, uh, I think this is more on Sebastian refusing, not being at the same level of Shaw rather than Ferrari. But I mean, this is just based on my thinking, and we really don't know. We hope to have some more news in the following days. But really, this is something um, that sounds too strange to me. Mostly because actually, what we can say is that uh, what about let me say candidates for replacement. So, what are the candidates for replacement of Sebastian Vettel? We do have some candidates. The first one that I would like to talk about is Danny Ricciardo. Probably he was uh, let me say, the first candidate that we we all thought about it when we were talking about the contract renewal of Sebastian, mostly because he can speak Italian. He has a very, I would say, a strong connection with also the Italian culture. He's a great, he has a great personality, great character. I think he can be a good match between his personality and what Ferrari needs, also from a marketing perspective. Actually, also he is experienced enough to be a guy that can give some advice to Charles, and he's experienced enough to win races even when the car is not at his best, right? uh Downside of having Ricciardo again, probably Daniel is not someone that can accept to comes to Ferrari. So probably the most exciting thing for a driver and be the second string driver. So you know, you know, having the situation where the radio box is something like, "Hey Daniel, Charles is faster than you. Let him pass." This kind of thing. I think that probably the problem that we may have as a Ferrari, talking about Ferrari as a Ferrari fan, with Daniel is this one, right? So, what is the uh, other candidate? Probably is Carlos Sainz Jr. And Carlos Sainz Jr. actually, he's the guy that is expected to replace Sebastian Vettel starting from 2021. All media are talking about it. All media are pretty sure that uh, Carlos Sainz Jr. is going to be the driver to replace Sebastian Vettel. So there are also media that are writing in the web, and also we can see videos on news channels that are saying that Ferrari is expected to announce Carlos Sainz within the next 48 hours. Again, strange move in a way, because basically, I mean, I can understand Ferrari. From one side, they have Shaw. They may bring on board Carlos Sainz Jr., which is another young driver that can do some very good thing. And he can do some very cool stuff, some very cool race, achieve good results, and basically try to put a lot of efforts in a very young and talented team, and see what happens with the new regulation starting from 2022 now. So I understand Ferrari from one side. I really have to understand what is Carlos Sainz's motivation to go to Ferrari. Of course, going to Ferrari is the best thing for everybody in the circus, honestly, especially when Ferrari is in the, let me say, first two position in the constructor championship. So it means that the team has a good car, maybe not the best car, but a good car. On the other side, I think it's a very dangerous move for Carlos Sainz Jr. Um, he needs to compete with Charles. The team is very on the Charles side, so he needs to gain credibility and earn trust from the team as well. Uh, I hope he's not signing a contract as a second string driver, because actually, um, I mean, it's not a good move for him, and honestly, it's something that I can't understand. So hopefully, what we're going to have is Charles Leclerc and then Carlos Sainz Jr. with a contract that say, "Hey, you're new to the team, so this year Sean is the captain, but in the future, if you earn trust from the team, and since you're a very young and talented guy that already had battles with For example, Max Verstappen, when he was in Toro Rosso, they were both at the Toro Rosso. You can battle Char as well and see who's the best, right? So I think it's not that bad in general. But again, it's a very, very bold move from both sides. Ferrari from one side, who's gonna have, you know, Ferrari, the team is gonna have no champion or former championship driver in his lineup for a very long time. So it's the first time since I don't know when, probably Alessia Berger, the Alessia Berger era. So 95 last year. Or well, the 2007 Massa and Raikkonen, but Raikkonen was already two-time second place in the Formula One championship, so quite experienced anyway. Very bold move from Ferrari. Very bold move again from Carlos Sainz, because he's coming to Ferrari. If this news is true and confirmed, he's coming to Ferrari, and he's basically need to earn trust from the team, need to battle with Charles, be ready to have a very strong fight with him. It's gonna be tough, honestly. It's gonna be tough. I think we can definitely see some interesting stuff starting from next year championship, right? So I think um, this is all we have to say now. We can say now. So thank you for joining us with this special editions of Food Throttle. We're gonna have uh, more episodes coming later this week, because uh, news are starting um, popping up uh, in media, in websites, and so on. So we will have a lot of things to talk about in the following days. So stay tuned. If you like the episode, please like the episode on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, please spread the voice for the podcast and subscribe to the YouTube channel or to the podcast if you really like what we do. Stay tuned, stay safe. We'll be back quite soon with new episode of Full Throttle. See ya.